Hi everyone, Samuel Cardillo here. Decided to do a video about the last Star Citizen drama and this SCL live stream that went bad. And for the people who know, then you know, and the people who don't know, recently, I think everyone knows about it right now, but recently Star Citizen employees decided to have a live stream where they presented the latest update that's supposed to arrive anytime now for the 10 with a specific event called Siege of Horizon, which will be the first time to have an instance system in the game, which allow players to be in a created environment where they only play with their teammates and there is no like external I would say disturbance, so no other players can join the instance like any MMO, basically like World of Warcraft or any other MMO when you go into a dungeon. And the thing is, they tried to play it in a development server in order to show that everything was working, and a lot of bugs happen. Guns are not reloading. A lot of different kind of things happening that kind of shown to every players that most of the bugs that we've been complaining about, and I say we because I am a Star Citizen player, even though I've not touched the game in a while now. Are not really due to the excuses they served us in the past months and years, where they always have been pointing fingers of like, oh, this is because of networking issue of I don't know, different kind of excuses, but turn out is really due to poor code or poor implementations or things like that. And of course, look, I wanted to do a video because for people who don't know me, I come from a very, I will say, obviously I never worked in the video game industry. I never worked in the video game industry at all, but I've been doing startups, did some exits. I've been a founder. I've hired developers. I'm specialized in the tech industry. I'm a tech person myself. I've been working at Google. I've been working with various governments. I was an executive at Nike. I sold the company to Nike and then was in charge of the tech there for a while. And right now I'm still doing tech. So like uh I do have an experience in teams, scaling teams, starting with no employees and getting employees, creating company culture, understanding toxicity within that company culture, and how to handle tech, not at the video game level, but how to handle tech in general. And the reason I wanted to kind of speak is that I've been an invested player of Star Citizen for a while. I've put a lot of money in the game. And matter of fact, as you can see over there, I have like a reclaimer signed by most of the designer team of CIG that worked on the reclaimer. I've invested in community events. The last one was the Beacon in Belgium, where we actually had Chris Roberts and his wife and Pedro Camacho. I have a music CD signed by him, like. So, and I have spent a lot of money on the game. I think we're like around 30,000 or a little bit more. Um, and so I do feel like I have a voice there. And do I regret spending that much? Absolutely not. Like I don't think I regret anything. And but the thing is, I have lost all faith in the company and in the video game itself. And I think it will take a while. And it will take a heavy work to reshape things correctly, because basically I've had like my own theory for a while without seeing what's going on within the company, but just recognizing some patterns and some things that I just recognize by out of experience, some technical decisions, some way of addressing people. I have a huge issue with Jared. I don't know the guy, but I have a huge issue with Jared because he just reminds me of all the corporate people I've met across my professional experience who've been lying to customers and over promising stuff, and there is like huge issue. So let me start first by what I feel is having an issue. Like first of all, CIG kind of grew very quickly, and it started with people who have basic knowledge of how to manage a company and how to scale that much, and they were able to scale very quickly. They got offices and they hired a lot of people and things like that, and that's great for them. But they learn as they went, right? That's totally fine. I have done that, and a lot of the other founders and developers done that. It's all right. Like you build a company and you cannot know everything about how to manage a company, and you hire people to help you out. The thing is, when you grow a company, the company culture need to follow, and the company culture is not about just having a replica of your starship in your office. It's not about like it's not that. It's not about like having a cool door in your office, or a cool cafeteria. This is just, doesn't matter. The company culture, it's about how the employee is gonna feel, how they're gonna act, how the missions they're serving, right? Like the purpose. Are they growing also with the company? And I feel CIG completely lost that. The main reason why I say this is because as a founder myself, multiple time founder, I can tell you that the founder and CEO matter a lot. And I have a feeling that Chris Roberts has not been there. I have a feeling that Chris Roberts disappeared, and I don't really understand where is he. We've not heard from him in a while, but I also have a feeling that he's not been implicated that much into Star Citizen. He might have completely switched to Squadron 42. I don't know, or he's been very active in different activities such as like the recording, the motion captures, and things like that. But in this grand scheme of things, I don't really know if he's really implicated into the project anymore in a more like going to see the developers, going to the office and speaking to the team directly, or did he become the complete corporate where you're the CEO founders and you just go to whatever you care about and have meetings with the middle management and your executives and leave the peasant talk to the managers. And I feel that's what happened. And when this happened, it's really bad because it lead to huge companies losing. I mean, I'm gonna compare to what I know, right? But like coming from Nike, look at Nike stock. I was at Nike at the moment those kind of things happened when John Donahoe was being the CEO, and when the whole executive things went this way, and now Eliott, the new CEO, is having a hard time undoing everything that John Donahoe did because exactly that company culture suffered, and we see the Nike stocks is like the lowest, and the products are complete garbage. We can see Google as well. Like as a Zoogler myself, Google suffered and still suffer from that. The company culture has completely shifted, and we can see that, for example, super simple. When the AI revolution kind of started, Google was really behind, and one of the founder had to come back. Sergey Brin had to come back to Google to kind of push and reshift few things, and him being there and him being with the employees and him like being working and showing his presence was enough to produce the first step of Google within the AI and get them into the race. Now I really dislike Gemini, but that's another that's another subject. So first of all, the company culture, I think, is atrocious, and I think Chris Roberts is completely to blame here. I think he's surrounding himself with people, as I was saying with Jared, like about Jared, for example, with people who are like, I don't want to use the word woke because I think it has a lot of like political connotation and things like that, and I don't think it's the right word, but too politically correct, too corporate too ASCII C, and who are just bad people in general. I again, I don't know the guy personally, but I know that I will not trust him. I cannot trust this guy because by experience, those kind of guys who speak the same way he speaks have never said the truth to customers ever. Ever, ever, ever. I've seen those kind of guys speak to me and tell me the truth, and I could tell them, you say that publicly, and they will say whatever I want publicly, and they will be able to lie from A to Z. And those kind of profile, I cannot trust them. They're the worst. On top of that, we know that he doesn't play the game. He only played a game to observe. He does have a genuine admiration for space and things like that, and I think this is great. Again, I'm not complaining about the profile himself. I think the guy might be a great guy on a personal level, but in terms of the company culture, like when you add that up, it doesn't add well, right? Then there is a third thing, which is obviously with the growth and the mismanagement of the company culture, at least the way I feel it, is obviously, and that's something that everyone know, the tech debt that accumulated, the huge turnover between employees, the lack of vision from the beginning. A lot of realization came across lately, and we saw it like at the last CitizenCon, where they finally presented something that they should have presented a while ago, which is a vision with the factions, with the reputation, blah blah blah. And so I think there was a lot of micromanagement, over promising, a lot of over dreaming from Chris Roberts, and that's fine. It's also why I spent so much money in the game. It's because they did sell us a dream, and I'm okay to dream. I'm fine, and I'm lucky enough that that money is not gonna, I don't care if I lose it. It doesn't matter. It's already lost. The moment you put it, it's done. And so that tech debt and things like that are stuff that accumulated. Can it be solved? Most probably, but for it to be solved, you need to understand where you're going, and you need some kind of stability, because the tech team needs to have the freedom and the time necessary to focus on those tasks. And the problem is that we see it's not the case. Like, obviously, there is a lot of features that are still being worked on, a lot of ads, additional stuff they're coming. They're working on two games in the same time. We don't really know what's going on with Squadron 42. We know that, from what I understood, I'm not totally sure about that, but like the Planet V5 is not fully integrated, or the river technology or whatever in Squadron 42, which is a little bit weird. And we do know that there is like a lot of miscommunication that happened in the past, where Chris Roberts say like, oh yeah, we're in feature complete, and like by the end of the year, the game will be released, and it was complete garbage. And I'm not talking about last year, I'm talking about years ago. I think 2018 or 2020 or something like that. So we've seen those things. And then the last element, which also fit into the company culture, is, I think, the developer themselves. And I want to say that the issue is like, do I believe they're incompetent? Absolutely not. I really believe the artists are amazing. The developers have been able to produce a lot of things. Let's be honest. Like, the tech behind Star Citizen is great. And I'm not here to spit on them, but at all. And I really believe those are great people. But what I also believe is my knowledge about growing a team of developer in a healthy way. And developers tend to be very opinionated, which is fine, because this is also part of a developer. We work with technologies, we decide which technology is good, we get eased with that certain kind of technologies that we use, because we've learned a lot into those technologies, um, and we become opinionated about those. We don't like this, we like that, we prefer this, we prefer this way of doing code. Doesn't matter. But that's the opinionated part can grow in two ways, either healthy or unhealthy, and in the wrong company culture it grows unhealthy, because there is a part of the ego that comes in play, right? And the ego, you need to manage the ego, and as a CTO, as a vice president of technology, or whatever the title, whoever is in charge, you have to manage the ego of your developers. And what we've seen in the SCL stream, is a really huge ego from the developers, at least the one that were represented, specifically Eliott. If I was the boss there, this guy would have been fired on the spot. Not only because nothing was professional and was shown, like, I'm not even gonna speak about the fact that they were team killing and stuff like that. Like, no, like, you're focused on a stream that shows how great the event is supposed to be, not how stupid you can play. So there is that. Like, it's completely non-professional, but that is just, whatever. I want to focus here on the hostility, the continuous, like, ignoring the reality and things like that just happen, and how it really comes down to that opinionated ego that get created in the wrong management and the wrong company culture. At least that's how I feel it through my own experience. I've seen that. I've fired many people because of this, because I do care about company culture in general, and this is how most of the success I've got were because I was able to get a company culture that was fitting my style. And a lot of my ex-employees, I think still feel like they were happy to work under me and things like that. And so I have that experience. And so when I compare my experience with what I'm seeing there, it's day and night. And I know it's an environment that I would have had. I would have fired. I would have fired a guy straight away. Um, and just in general, again, on the company culture, like the way Ollie was treated, I think everyone is speaking about it, and in a way it's kind of funny, but it's sad. It's funny in a sad way. The It's Your Show wrap it up when Jared at the very beginning was like taking the almost all the things on his shoulders in a very misinformed way, I guess. And I don't think it was ill intended. I really believe Jared thought that this will show, how great the project is. But again, the corporate speak take over, and I think at some point we just need to wake up to that. And I think it's super important for CIG to wake up to those as well. I think Chris Roberts need to wake up as well, mainly. I think I really believe the main problem is management. And if it was up to me, it will be a reshuffle of the management entirely, and then a address to the employees, especially at the developer side and project managers and things like that, to speak to them, to put them back to a neutral state, meaning like from now on, any show of ego or belligerence or whatever will be met with some consequences. We're all, one vision. Because one of the main issue I have, which I have no confirmation of this, and this is a pure assumption, so I might be wrong, is like uh, people keep giving money, and so people keep giving money. I was about to buy the Odin, and I didn't buy the Odin at the end, but mainly because it was my way to protest, which is very stupid when you think about it. But it doesn't matter, because the problem is like I've seen that. I've seen that happening. I've seen like when and I cannot get into the details here, but I've seen how it is when things are not going well. You know that your company has issues. You know that you're not saying the full truth. Like those kind of things, but your company still makes shit tons of money, and your base, your consumer base, is really giving you a lot of money. Then you feel like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that things are not great, because people still pay. So why do I care? Why will I need to change? And so that's a huge issue, because that plays heavily on the company culture. But this is also a lack of ethics, right? This is also a lack of ethics, to choose to not change anything just because people keep paying, because they believe in you and they believe in the initial vision and they believe in the dream that you're selling. That's an ethic issue. If there was no ethic issue, if they really want to be to do the right thing, and if I'm right on what I'm saying, then the solution will be for management to wake up, for Chris Roberts to take back the company in a way, speak to the manager, speak to the executive level, to all the C level, put back things correctly, and reshift entirely the company ego, fire the problems. Eliott is too late for this guy. I think he needs to be fired. This guy, I've seen those kind of developers. They cannot be dealt with. They really cannot be dealt with. They usually, you need to fire them very quickly. Not because the guy is a bad person. It's just that because he's been allowed to grow that way in the company, and it's sad because it's a manager issue. But then now it's too late, because when you build a company, you're not there to 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 um to deal with children, right? Like, you have to, of course, you want your employees to grow with you and to grow with the products you're building. But if they don't grow well, or if you did the mistake of growing them in the wrong way, you don't have the time to put them back to the right place, unless you see there is a possibility. Out of experience, Eliott is a no-go. So yeah, I mean, that's it. Look, it's a 20 minutes video of me rambling about all of those stuff, but I just felt like talking about it. On my personal level, I'm not putting any other penny into Star Citizen. I am happy with what I bought. I'm not playing the game anymore just because I'm not having fun on it anymore anyway, even though I really believe in the dream and I believe in the vision, and I'm a huge lover of space simulation, and things like that. Uh, and I've stopped completely investing in community events. Like, I'm really sorry, because I know some community events needed some money, and I didn't fund them in the past years. There's like three community events that didn't take place because they were a lack of funds. And again, even there, like the fact that CIG doesn't help those events, like that private people have to fund, because and I'll tell you, because I don't care, to be honest, but like the fact is, CIG says that they cannot use Star Citizen money because it's Kickstarter money, and how do you call it, fundraiser money, for private events, so they cannot support. um so they can use Squadron 42 money because this is private investor, but they won't use it. So basically there is no support. And if you had seen what I saw in terms of how, look, again, I've worked with governments, I've worked with very high executives, I've been an executive myself. I never had the security and the amount of preparation just for Chris Roberts to come in a place. I think it's more than the US president at some point. They come to scout the place to see if the bed in a certain manner, if the hotel is this way. It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. At some point you just need, like, a dude, come back to earth, right? So look, that's it. That's my video. Yeah. Have a good one. Hopefully things change. I do believe Chris Roberts has a love for the project. I do hope he comes back to it. That he abandoned all his, like, Hollywood dreams and things like that. You can do it in parallel. Nothing stops you from doing that. But you do have a player base. You do have a huge company with a lot of employees, and right now everything is imploding, kind of, because the lack of focus and the growing toxicity, uh, that I feel start to be very, 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 very visible. But again, I could be wrong on the whole thing. Uh, who knows? A lot of assumptions, right? So yeah, have a good one. Enjoy your day, and maybe we'll see each other on the verse if things change.